There is no such thing as a new idea. We simply take a lot of old ideas and put them into a sort of mental kaleidoscope. Mark Twain. People often obsessively chase after uniqueness, as if the value of an idea is only recognized when it has never existed before. But the truth of creativity is much more humble. No mind is born out of a vacuum. Every thought of ours is an echo of things once seen, heard, experienced, or felt. What makes the difference does not lie in the individual pieces, but in how the mind connects them into a new picture. The mind is like a kaleidoscope. The glass pieces inside do not change. They remain familiar colored shards, much like the knowledge, memories, lessons, and experiences that life has bestowed upon us. Yet, with just a slight shift in perspective, the entire image instantly transforms into a completely different pattern. That is the very essence of creativity. Not creating new materials, but creating a new way of seeing, limiting yourself with the thought, someone has already done this idea. That very belief unintentionally locks the door to creative potential. In reality, what the world needs is not a perfect replica of the past, but the unique perspective that only you can bring. Two people reading the same book will never understand it in the exact same way. Two painters watching the same sunset will not paint the same sky. Life does not create copies. Life creates different interpretations. Every encounter, every failure, every moment of happiness or pain silently adds new colored shards to the kaleidoscope of your soul. When you learn endlessly, experience continuously, and dare to connect seemingly unrelated things, the mind will naturally generate ideas that bear your personal mark. That is why great creators are often not those who know the most, but those who know how to combine what they know in ways no one else has ever thought of. Do not fear that your ideas are not new enough. Fear that you will stop observing, stop learning, and stop turning the kaleidoscope within your own mind. Every book you read, every person you meet, every challenge you overcome is quietly preparing the ingredients for something greater. At the right moment, all those pieces will connect into a picture that only you can create. And that is the wondrous beauty of creativity. Not creating what has never existed, but breathing a completely new soul, deeply marked by your own essence, into familiar things. The worst enemy to creativity is self-doubt. Sylvia Plath. In life, very few dreams are stolen by others, yet countless dreams are buried by their own creators. The most terrifying thing is not criticism from the outside world, but the quiet voice echoing in your mind. I'm not good enough. This idea is nothing special. What if I fail? Those very whispers are like a thick fog, obscuring the path that inherent talent could walk upon. Creativity is never born in an atmosphere of fear. It is like a tiny seed that needs the light of faith to germinate. If you continuously water it with doubt every day, that seed will remain dormant in the ground forever, carrying away all its undiscovered potential. The heartbreaking thing is that many great ideas do not die because they lack value, but because their creators never had enough courage to begin. Self-doubt is the brain's defense mechanism. It wants to keep us in our comfort zone, safe from failure, shame, and rejection. But the paradox is that the more we try to avoid risk, the more we lose the opportunity to grow. The brain always prioritizes familiarity over breakthroughs. Therefore, whenever you intend to do something new, it will find every reason to persuade you to stop. Not because you lack capability, but because the brain is afraid of the unknown. Observe a child holding a paintbrush. They do not care whether the painting is perfect, nor do they worry about how others will judge it. That very carefree attitude creates brushstrokes full of life. Meanwhile, adults often erase their sketches before anyone else even has a chance to see them. Not because they lack ideas, but because they have made themselves believe they are not good enough. Creativity does not require you to be perfect. It only asks that you dare to express what exists in your mind. A first line of text might be clumsy. A first piece of music might still have many flaws. A first idea might not amaze anyone yet, but all masterpieces once started with a very ordinary version. No one can create if they always demand perfection from themselves right from the very first step. Whenever self-doubt arises, remember that it is not proof of your weakness, but merely a sign that you are reaching a new boundary. Do not let the voice of fear grow louder than the call of your dreams. Let action speak in place of hesitation. For the only thing that can kill an idea before it has a chance to live is not the judgment of the world, but the moment you decide to give up on yourself. Inspiration exists, but it has to find you working. Pablo Picasso. Many people spend their entire lives waiting for inspiration, as if it were a sudden gust of wind that will sweep by and turn all dreams into reality. They believe that only when they have motivation can they begin. But life operates under a completely opposite rule. Action is not the result of inspiration. Many times, it is action itself that gives birth to inspiration. Imagine a mountain stream. The water is not clear because it stands still. It is the continuous movement through every rocky crevice that makes the stream come alive. When you sit still, waiting for a perfect idea to appear, your thoughts usually only wander within the loops of hesitation and imagination. But when your hands start working, when each small step is taken, the mind is immediately activated. New connections form, new perspectives open up, and what seemed non-existent gradually becomes clear. The brain does not like voids. It responds powerfully to interaction and problem solving. When you start writing, even if it is just the first sentence, the second will easily follow. When you hold the brush to paint the first stroke, the picture will gradually take shape. When you take the first steps on your journey, the road ahead will also gradually appear. Inspiration is not a lightning bolt from the sky. It is like a fire, created by the friction between effort and perseverance. Many successful people understand the days they do not want to work are often the days they discover the most valuable things. For it is precisely when they overcome laziness, procrastination, and the lack of motivation that they force themselves to dig deeper into their own abilities. The magic does not appear before they start. It appears in the very process of their patient continuation. The sculptor does not see the finished statue from the start. He only sees a block of stone, but every chisel stroke brings the hidden form closer to the light. Writers do not start with a complete book either. They begin with a blank page and the determination not to give up. Great achievements are always built from small actions, repeated regularly, not from rare moments of excitement. Do not make inspiration a prerequisite for action. Make action a habit so that inspiration has a place to find you. Every hour of earnest labor, every moment of persistence, even without seeing results, is opening the door for new ideas to enter. Inspiration has never abandoned you. It is only quietly searching for people resilient enough to receive it. And when you are engrossed in your work, inspiration will no longer be an occasional visitor, but a companion on the journey to creating extraordinary things. The difficulty lies not so much in developing new ideas as in escaping from old ones. John Maynard Keynes. People often think that to change our lives, we need to find a completely new idea. But the paradox is, what hinders innovation rarely comes from a lack of ideas. It comes from old ideas that have rooted too deeply in the mind. They are like invisible anchors, holding the ship forever in the harbor. Even if the sails are full of wind and the vast ocean awaits ahead, the ship still cannot set sail if the anchor has not been lifted. The human mind has a tendency to love familiarity. Beliefs repeated over many years gradually become truth in our perception. Even when they are no longer suitable, we get used to a certain way of thinking, working, and evaluating ourselves and the world. Gradually, those patterns turn into an invisible cage. What is notable is that most of us do not even realize we are imprisoned, because that cage was built from the very things that once brought a sense of security. A garden left untended for many years. Weeds grow thick, taking all the light and nutrients. To plant new seeds, the gardener cannot simply bring more seeds. The first thing to do is to uproot the old weeds that have covered the fertile ground. Thinking is the same. New ideas cannot take root in a mind already crowded with prejudices, fears, and outdated habits. The brain always looks for ways to save energy, preferring to use familiar pathways instead of creating new roads. Therefore, whenever faced with a different viewpoint, the first reaction is often denial or resistance. Not because the new idea is wrong, but because the brain feels threatened when it has to change what is already familiar. That very mechanism makes many people unintentionally become prisoners of the past, even though they always long for a better future. Those who created turning points in history did so not because they always knew more than others, but because they were brave enough to question things that seemed obvious. They were willing to abandon an old belief when they found a better truth. They did not view changing their perspective as a failure, but as a sign of maturity. The more they learned, the more they understood that wisdom does not lie in clinging to what they once believed, but in the ability to continuously expand awareness. If you want life to step into a new chapter, do not just search for new ideas. Have the courage to examine the old beliefs that are silently controlling how you think and act. Sometimes, what changes destiny is not what you learn additionally, but what you dare to let go of that is no longer true. When the mind is freed from old limits, new opportunities will naturally appear. And it is precisely in the moment you are brave enough to step out of the cage of familiar thinking that you also enter a vaster, freer, and stronger version of yourself. Develop a passion for learning. If you do, you will never cease to grow. Anthony J. D'Angelo. There are people who see learning as a phase of life, ending when a degree is awarded or when work has stabilized. But there are also those who see learning as a way of life. For them, each day is a new page of a book. Every encounter is a lesson. Every failure is a teacher. And each challenge is an opportunity to discover capabilities still lying dormant within themselves. It is this very difference in attitude that determines the distance between a life of mere existence and a life of constant growth. Learning is not merely accumulating knowledge. It is a process of continuously expanding the boundaries of the mind. Every new thing you learn is like opening another window in the room of perception. The more windows are opened, the more light floods in, and the more you see the world with a wider vision. Those who stop learning often believe they already know enough. Meanwhile, those who love learning realize the more they understand, the more there is that they do not know. This very humility becomes the driving force that helps them go further every day. The human brain is made to adapt and grow. Each time you learn a new skill, read a book, listen to a different perspective, or try an unprecedented experience, new neural connections are formed. The mind becomes more flexible, and the ability to solve problems grows deeper. This means that growth is not a gift reserved solely for those with innate talent, but a reward for those who constantly nurture curiosity. Observe a river. As long as the water flows, the river remains fresh and full of life. But if the water stops circulating, it gradually becomes stagnant. Humans are the same. When we stop learning, we easily get trapped in old ways of thinking, old habits, and old limitations. Conversely, each new thing absorbed is like a stream of fresh water, refreshing the soul, helping us become more flexible in the face of life's constant changes. The miracle is that the passion for learning does not depend on age, profession, or circumstance. A book can change how you perceive life. A heartfelt conversation can open a new direction. A mistake can also become a valuable lesson if you are humble enough to look back. Life always sends us lectures. The only difference is whether we can keep the heart of a student. Do not let your growth stop at the achievements you have already reached. Nurture within yourself the flame of curiosity and love for knowledge. Each day, learning a small thing. Each day, understanding yourself a little more. Each day, daring to change an old thought. You are silently building a stronger version of yourself. When learning becomes a joy instead of an obligation, maturity will no longer be a distant destination, but a journey that lasts a lifetime. And as long as you still yearn to learn, you are still growing, moving forward, and constantly discovering new limits of yourself. Optimism is the most important human trait because it allows us to evolve our ideas, to improve our situation, and to hope for a better tomorrow. Seth Godin. Optimism is not the habit of only seeing good things, nor is it trying to deny existing difficulties. Optimism is the ability to look directly at reality, yet still believe that this reality can be changed. It is the mental strength that helps people keep walking when the road ahead is still full of fog, because they believe that behind the mist, dawn is always waiting. Hope is like an invisible source of energy, nurturing the ability to act. When a person believes the future can be better, the brain will actively seek solutions instead of just focusing on the problem. Conversely, when pessimism takes over the mind, perception gradually narrows. People no longer see opportunities, but only obstacles, not because opportunities have vanished, but because the eyes of fear have obscured them. Imagine two people standing before a field that has just endured a storm. One person only sees fallen trees, scattered rocks, and concludes that everything is over. The other person sees the same things, but realizes that after the rain, the soil will be more fertile. Seeds will have a chance to take root, and a new green season can begin. The scenery does not change, only the perspective changes. It is this perspective that determines action, and action, in turn, determines the future. Optimism is also the fertile ground for ideas to germinate. A mind covered in despair is rarely open enough to create, but when people believe they can make a difference, imagination is unleashed. Questions like, what if there is another way? Or, what would happen if I tried one more time? Are the starting points of every great step forward. Every invention, innovation, and achievement is born from people who dare to believe that something better is entirely possible. The precious thing is that optimism is not a gift meant only for a few lucky people. It is a choice practiced every day. Each time you decide to learn from failure instead of giving up, each time you choose to find solutions instead of excuses, each time you are grateful for what you have instead of just regretting what was lost, you are nurturing a stronger spirit of optimism within yourself. Like a small flame protected from strong winds, that belief will gradually become a guiding light for your whole life. Life will always have challenges that no one can avoid, but what makes a difference is not the number of times we fall, but our attitude when we stand back up. Optimism does not promise that the road will always be smooth, but it gives you the courage to keep walking. And as long as you still hold on to belief in tomorrow, you still have enough strength to learn, create, and change the present. For a bright future does not begin with perfect circumstances, but with a mind that always believes something beautiful is waiting ahead. Change will not come if we wait for some other person or some other time. We are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the change that we seek. Barack Obama. So many people spend their entire lives waiting for change, yet forget that time does not have the ability to change anyone. Time simply passes. What truly creates a turning point is not dates, but human decisions. We often say, when there is an opportunity, I will begin. When things are more favorable, I will change. Or, if someone helps me, life will be different. However, those perfect conditions rarely appear. And while waiting, the most precious thing, the present, also quietly slips away. Placing hope on external factors helps us feel lighter. If the cause lies in circumstances, in others, or in an unsuitable time, we do not have to face our own responsibility. But that very thought creates an invisible cage. We hand over the power of deciding our lives to things we cannot control, then wonder why we stand still forever. A person is standing before a door that has already been opened, yet they still patiently wait for someone to come and open the door for them. The door is not locked at all, but the waiting makes them believe they cannot step through yet. Life is just like that. So many limitations do not exist in circumstances, but in the way we perceive those circumstances. The first thing that needs to change is not the outside world, but the belief that you can make a difference. Every major change in history began with a person who dared to act while others still hesitated. No one is born with all the right conditions. What they have is the courage to take the first step. A seed does not wait for the perfect breeze to germinate. It quietly breaks its hard shell, rises from the dark soil, and reaches toward the light. It is this action that creates life. Humans are the same. Every great journey begins with a seemingly small decision, the decision to wait no longer. Change is not a magical moment happening from the outside. It is a sequence of small choices repeated every day. Choosing to learn more instead of procrastinating. Choosing to act instead of making excuses. Choosing to take responsibility instead of blaming. These choices may not produce immediate results, but step by step, they are silently shaping the person you will become in the future. Do not spend your life searching for a hero who will appear and change your destiny. That person has always been here, inside of you. Do not wait for a perfect day, because today is the only time you truly possess. When you change your way of thinking, acting, and facing challenges, the world around you also begins to change accordingly. For the transformation of life does not originate from external fluctuations, but from the moment a person decides to stand up and say, I myself will be the change I have been waiting for. They always say, time changes things, but you actually have to change them yourself. Andy Warhol. Time is the fairest thing in the world. Everyone receives 24 hours in a day. No more, no less. Yet, after many years, some grow more mature, stronger, and reach dreams once thought distant, while others still stand at the exact spot they started. This shows that time is not the creator of change. Time is merely a river, quietly flowing. It is how people choose to act within that flow that decides where life will go. Many people pin their hopes on a special tomorrow. They believe that at some point, they will naturally become more disciplined, more confident, or happier. But tomorrow does not bring any miracles. If today you still keep the same old thoughts, old habits, and old decisions, then time simply prolongs your current version. The clock may keep running, but life stands still. People often confuse the passage of time with progress. We think that just by waiting, fear will disappear, skills will automatically improve, or circumstances will get better on their own. In reality, what makes people grow is not the number of years lived, but the number of times they dare to face challenges, learn from mistakes, and change their way of thinking. It is not age that creates wisdom, but experiences transformed into lessons that do so. A block of stone lies by the seashore. Thousands of waves continuously crash against it over many years. If the stone only lies still, time will only wear down its surface. But if the artisan holds a chisel and patiently crafts day by day, that stone block can become a beautiful statue. Human life is the same. Time can make you grow old, but only proactivity helps you mature. Every major change begins with very small decisions. A page of a book read today, a workout session not missed, an apology spoken, a bad habit replaced by a positive action. These things may seem small in each moment, but when accumulated over time, they make a colossal difference. No one changes overnight, but anyone can change if they know how to start today. The most beautiful thing about life is that you always have the right to write the next chapter of your story. The past may leave scars, but it cannot determine the next chapter unless you allow it to. Circumstances can create a starting point, but they do not determine the destination. The greatest power each human possesses is the ability to choose, choosing to learn instead of complaining, to act instead of procrastinating, and to move forward instead of forever looking back. Do not expect time to change your life. Let time become the witness of your daily efforts. When you change your thoughts, change your attitude, and change your actions, time will silently multiply those good things. In the end, you will realize that the miracle has never been in the years that passed, but in the person who constantly had the courage to change, to create a more deserving future. Those who cannot change their minds cannot change anything. George Bernard Shaw. Every change in life begins in an invisible place, the way we think. Before a house is built, it already exists in the form of a blueprint. Before a journey is made, it has already begun with a decision. And before life turns in a new direction, the mind must dare to step out of its old limits. Because of this, the greatest obstacle for humans often does not lie in circumstances, but in the beliefs deeply rooted in our perception. We cling to old conclusions because they bring a sense of security, even when they are no longer suitable. A person who has failed might believe they are not capable enough. A person who has been rejected might think they are not worthy. Over time, those thoughts are no longer temporary opinions, but become the invisible lens through which they view the world. The unfortunate thing is that when the lens is covered in the gray of limitation, all opportunities also seem to turn gloomy. Preferring to walk on familiar paths because it saves energy and reduces the sense of insecurity. But that very mechanism also makes us easily get trapped in the ruts of thinking. When an old belief is not questioned, it gradually becomes the truth in the mind, even though reality may have changed long ago. Therefore, changing your mind is not denying yourself, but courageously updating yourself to fit new horizons. An eagle raised in a cage from a young age. Over many years, it gets used to the cramped space and believes that the sky is not for it. Even when the cage door is opened, it still hesitates to fly, not because its wings have weakened, but because its mind has never left the cage. Humans are the same. So many limitations exist, not in capability, but in the way we perceive ourselves. The magic is that with just a small change in mindset, a whole life can pivot. When you replace the question, "Why is this happening to me?" with, "What can I learn from this?" failure begins to turn into a lesson. When you replace "I cannot do it" with "I cannot do it yet," the door of growth immediately opens. Just a single change in interpretation is enough to create change in emotions, actions, and results. No one can force you to grow. No one can change your life for you, but you always have the right to change how you see the world. And when the perspective changes, decisions change. When decisions change, actions change. When actions change, the future will also differ. That is the silent yet powerful chain reaction that all growth follows. If you want to change your life, do not rush to search for big things outside. Start by questioning the thoughts that have existed too long in your mind. What was once true yesterday may not necessarily still be true today. A strong person is not someone who never changes their perspective, but someone who is humble enough to accept a new truth and brave enough to live by what they have realized. When the mind is freed from old limits, your entire life will also have the opportunity to step into a completely new chapter. Change is hard, but nothing is harder than staying stuck in a place where you don't belong. Mandy Hale. We know very well that the present is wearing us out, yet we still cling tightly to it just because it is familiar. A job that no longer brings meaning, a relationship that is reduced to mere endurance, a lifestyle that slowly drains the soul's energy. All are still kept because of a very common thought: what if changing makes it even worse? And so we accept staying inside the familiar cage, forgetting that safety does not always equate to happiness. The brain is programmed to prioritize stability over growth. It always evaluates the familiar as less risky than the unknown, even though in reality, that familiar thing is exhausting us day by day. That is why many people endure an unsuitable life for years, simply because they are afraid to step through the door of change. But the irony is that the pain of stagnation often grows silently over time. It does not explode immediately, but quietly erodes enthusiasm, confidence, and even faith in oneself. A tree planted in a pot that is too small. Initially, it still grows normally, but over the years, the root system becomes increasingly cramped, and the branches no longer have enough space to soar. Onlookers might think the tree has reached its natural limit. In truth, that limit does not lie in the tree itself, but in the pot that has become too small. Humans are the same. Very often, we do not fail because of a lack of ability, but because we are living in an environment, a mindset, or a circumstance that is no longer spacious enough for us to keep growing. Change is like the caterpillar having to leave its cocoon to become a butterfly. That moment is by no means easy. It has to struggle, accept the pain, and step into a completely different world. But if it remains inside the cocoon forever out of fear, it will never know it was born to fly. Life also sends each of us moments where we are forced to choose, to continue staying with familiarity or to walk toward our own potential. The beautiful thing is that you do not need to change everything overnight. Every journey begins with a small step, a decision to learn a new skill, a courageous conversation, a positive habit formed, a time daring to say no to what is no longer suitable. Those small changes are like individual bricks, building the bridge that takes you away from where you are stuck, bringing you closer to the life you truly desire. Do not let today's fear become the prison of many years to come. Change will certainly make you face challenges, but it also opens doors you have never seen before. The most dangerous thing is not failing when daring to walk, but spending a lifetime standing still in a place where you no longer belong. Believe that each time you have the courage to leave behind what is too cramped, you are giving yourself the opportunity to mature, to discover greater capabilities, and to live true to the person you are meant to be. For life is not measured by the number of years we spend in our comfort zone, but by the number of times we dare to step out to find the best version of ourselves.